Let us pray. Creator God, on this great day of graduation, we give thanks for the rich inheritance we have received in this university, for the opportunities of study and research, and for the blending of cultures and the sharing of experience and learning, and for families and friends who have supported us in the long journey towards our goals. Bless those who journey forth from here to their different places and countries of work. May they use their newfound wisdom and skill for the relief of suffering and the conquest of disease. May they use their gifts of knowledge and compassion to bring health and healing to those in need. And for those who govern our countries, grant them wisdom to see clearly and strength to act rightly. We give thanks for all our graduates. May they find great happiness in all that they do, and may the world be enriched by their generous giving in the service of others. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain, for that. Please be seated. Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's graduation ceremony. I'm afraid it's going to be rather warm in here, but I hope it will be fun. So before we start, it's my pleasure to ask the Principal and Vice Chancellor to address the Assembly.
Chancellor, Depute Lord Provost, graduands, honorary graduand, ladies and gentlemen, let me add my very warm welcome, provided I don't lose my speech off the lectern here. Let me add my very warm welcome to all of you, and especially to those of you visiting Dundee for the first time. Let me extend a particularly warm welcome on behalf of the City and the University of Dundee, Scotland's University of the Year. This is an occasion when we should take pride in our university, so I will take the opportunity here to expand on that and on other accolades which have come our way this year, not least because you have all been part of bringing us to where we are now as students and very shortly as graduates. It is also a reflection of the efforts of staff, many of whom are gathered here on the stage to join you in your celebrations. Our ambition is to become Scotland's leading university over the next 2 decades in all that we choose to do. And this year has shown that in many aspects, that is a claim we can already make. We have not only been named Scottish University of the Year, but we are also #1 in Scotland for student experience, the top-ranked young university in the UK in the global rankings of universities under 50 years old, top in Scotland and 5th in the UK among Europe's most innovative universities, and one of the world's top 200 universities. These are all fantastic recognition for us, not just for the university, but also for you as graduates. Our hope is that as graduates of Dundee, you will become our ambassadors to the world, both for the university and the city. In turn, we ensure now and into the future that the name of the university on your CV is seen as a mark of quality and esteem. We have gathered these accolades while operating in a difficult period for higher education, where core funding from government has been under severe pressure, and we've had to make some very difficult decisions. So that we have come through this and enjoyed such a spectacular year of successes is due in large part to the fact that we have held on to our values throughout this time and have always prioritized the interests of students in everything we do. And this is quite simply because students are the lifeblood of the university. You come here from all over the world, from 147 different countries at the last count. And that's 3/4 of all the nations of the world. And whether you arrived from Shanghai, from Southampton, or from Scotland itself, we will always be committed to welcoming you to Dundee and supporting you in your time here. Now, whatever the negotiations following or leading up to Brexit following yesterday's momentous referendum are concerned, let me be very clear that this university remains absolutely committed to its international reputation, to its international partnerships, to the recruitment of talented students and staff from around the world, and particularly from Europe, and to research partnerships and collaborations throughout the world. And whilst we're bringing more students from around the world to Dundee than ever before, I'm especially proud that we're leading the way in Scotland in widening access to higher education, giving students a chance who would otherwise not have had the opportunity to study at a world-class university. My commitment to widening participation is also intensely personal. By modern standards, my own background would have been regarded as an example of widening access. I was the first of my family to be offered a place at university, but it was a place I didn't take because, frankly, it seemed to be an alien environment to a young person like me from a working-class, single-parent background. So my route to personal transformation weaved its way through industry, college, and day-release study before finally finding the courage to embark on a PhD at Birmingham University. And in the long run, that led to me standing here before you as your very proud and privileged principal. So we have to ensure that young people today have a route to higher education and the benefits it can bring, whatever their background. The latest figures show that this university leads Scotland in delivering better access to higher education. The number of students from the most deprived areas of the country taking up places at Dundee has more than doubled in the last 5 years, significantly outperforming any other university in Scotland. Being amongst the most innovative universities in the UK, with values which compel us to transform lives and to promote social justice, is reflected in the honours bestowed upon staff during the last 12 months. And so telling a little of their stories is a good way to illustrate the points I've just made. And we see this with the work of Professor Sue Black, who was made a Dame in the birthday honours earlier this month, and her colleagues in forensic sciences, including Vivian Maguire, who also received an MBE in the New Year honours. In our Centre for Anatomy and Human Identification and the new Leverhulme Research Centre for Forensic Science, they have made Dundee a world leader, pioneering new techniques which are proving effective in helping to convict some of society's worst child abuse offenders, helping solve historical cases, and revolutionizing the teaching of new generations of forensic specialists and anatomists. We see it also in the work of Professor Anna Lou Waller, who received an OBE earlier this year, and her colleagues in computing, who have helped establish Dundee as one of the world's leading centres for research into augmentative and alternative communication technologies for people with severe communication difficulties, literally giving those people a voice. And we see it in the work of Professor Jill Belch, awarded an OBE for her services to medicine. She has been central in helping us translate the new knowledge generated through research into effective patient care that delivers real benefits to people across society. And it's also apparent in work across all the schools that make up the university. We see it in the subject areas of those graduating this afternoon. In medicine, we are consistently ranked as producing amongst the best prepared graduates in the UK. That's all of you graduating today, ready to start making a contribution to our health services. You've helped to make ours the best medical course in Scotland. And that's why Dundee has been chosen to jointly lead Scotland's first graduate entry medical programme, recruiting more students to meet the needs of the NHS. As I mentioned earlier, we have a goal to become Scotland's leading university in all that we choose to do. And as the examples I have just mentioned show, we are already leading, not just in the UK, but internationally, in much of the work we do now. Our reputation as a centre of excellence can only help you in your future lives. And I hope you will continue to watch and stay connected with us as the university goes from strength to strength. 2017 will see us celebrating our 50th anniversary, when I hope to welcome many of you and some of our 80,000 alumni back to the city and the university campus. And in those 50 years, we've achieved a great deal. I'm excited by the prospects of where we can go in the next 25 years. All of my colleagues here today are also filled with anticipation of what each of you may achieve in the next phase of your lives. So I wish you all well for the future and hope you will continue to take pride in the achievements of your university. And on behalf of all the staff, the very best of luck as you embark on your own journeys of transformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal, for that address. Now, before we start the conferment of degrees this afternoon, the graduates in medicine have to take an oath. This morning, when the nurses had to take this, yesterday, when the nurses had to take the same oath, they responded most enthusiastically and affirmatively. So I know the medics will do the same. So can I please invite Professor Jonathan Dahl.
Chancellor, before the medical graduands are presented, I will ask them to assent to a declaration that they will maintain traditional standards of professional conduct. Will the medical graduands please stand? I solemnly promise to use to the best of my knowledge and ability the art and science of my profession for the good of those under my care, and to make the preservation and restoration of their health my constant aim. I shall keep secret anything I see or hear in my practice that should not be divulged. I shall constantly endeavour to improve my knowledge and skills within my profession and to share useful discoveries with my fellow practitioners, whom I promise to hold in fraternal regard. These things I shall do for the benefit of those whom I seek to serve, and for the honour of the profession that I now join. Do you make this promise?
Thank you. That was clear enough. Please be seated. Thank you, Professor. And I'll call upon the Dean of the School of Medicine, Professor Gary Myers, to introduce the graduates. Right? Okay.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, Alicia Aikman. Sylvie Aikman Green. Sarah Alfred. Julie Allison. Avril Anderson. Christy Armstrong. Fraser Arnott. Frederick Bainbridge. Matthew Balfour. Chad Ballantyne. Eugenie Basu. Ailey Bell. Sarah Blue. William Brown. Ashlyn Brown. Jordan Burgess. Francis Butterworth. Iona Campbell. Megan Chamberlain. Kun Soon Chang. Cheryl Chi. Mei Chin. Sei Chu. Simon Clark. Lauren Copeland. Jennifer Corner. Celia Craven. Olivia Curran. Hannah Cuthbertson. Hannah Darley. Jessica Dalzell. Scott Day. Chloe Donaldson. Lauren Dunlop. Emily Dunnett. Andrew Edwards. Kirsty Elliott. Lucy Elphinstone. Mohammed Al-Sadawi. Andrew Ferguson. Kerry Fitzgerald. Amy Fitzpatrick. Jen Ho Fong. Angus Forgy. Naomi Foster. Melanie Foy. Amala Francis. Catherine Gallagher. Catherine Garrett. Catherine Geddy. Elsa Gallen. Joseph Gagan. Rory Gibson. Hui Lu Go. Timothy Gomersall. Aparicio Gomez. Jennifer Green. Rebecca Guy. Karen Hamilton. Claire Hancock. Adam Harrigan. Lindsay Harris. Kevin Hart. George Horsch. Sean Hawkey. Georgina Heron. A. Hugh. James Hill. Avanis Hong. Rachel Hunter. Ibrahim Ibrahim. Savannah Irving. Joanna Jardin. Robert Jenkins. Rachel John Charles. Amy Johnston. Anna Johnston. Mark Kemsley. Ian Kendall. Jill Kehone. Barry Kerr. Callum Kerr. Kira Kiley. Sui Lai. Yu Ming Lai. Ryan Leach. Thomas Lung. Chi Lim. Hui Fang Lim. Alice Lindgren. Thomas Lindsay Gordon. Gareth Lipton. Heather Lockwood. Emma Lydon. Tom McKenzie. David McKinley. Craig McLean. Amy Mallon. Evan Marbach. Susan Martin. Francesca Mastalio. Rebecca Matchett. Caitlin Main. Hannah McCauley. Owen MacDonald. Shona MacDonald. Stuart McEwen. Rona McGregor. Mark McCain. Rachel McLean. Sarah McCluckey. Andrew Melvin. Alistair Miller. Kate Miller. Cassie Moan. Lisa Moore. Alix Morio. Fiona Morrison. Jonathan Nairn. Mark Neely. Amber Ogilvie. Sylvia Okuwemba. Shivananda Palansamy. Elizabeth Pang. Aaron Patterson. Jennifer Pearson. Fraser Peck. Nicola Philp. Aaron Jue Puna. Claire Port. Aidan Pritchard. Manini Porohit. Krishnapan Ramanathan. Ferdinand Ravi. Duncan Renton. Amy Rice. Ailey Rice. Mary Rimby. Fiona Robertson. Heather Robertson. Nicola Rogers. Andrea Rashito. Stephanie Scott Flynn. Jane Simpson. Amy Sinclair. John Sinclair. Sharandeep Singh. Darshini Sirambatam. Benjamin Smith. Sunil Stanislaus. Amy Stewart. Lewis Tate. Yong Tan. Ash Thakur. Joanna Thonning. Shannon Turkington. Melissa Vipon. Carla Vizoki. Rebecca Webster. Kieran Wee. Danielle Viratunga. Anna Marie Wells. Caitlin Whitaker. Jean Wiedman. Nathan Wilson. Rosie Wilson. Yiling Wong. Nicholas Wu. Catherine Woodruff. Craig Wiley. Ka Jun Yip. And Thomas Young. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medical Science, Fiona Beaton. Catherine Duncan. Sotone Kenneth David West. Alison Lim. Zach Maas. Alexander North. Catherine Scott. Subramanian Palaniapan. Roma Viria. Laura White. Natalia Albuquerque. Barbara Batista de Oliveira. Fernando Buenaneves. Fraser Cullen. Shayna Dillon. Mario Dowsley de Freitas Neto. Luciano Eltsores. Ailey Gillen. Callum Gray. Matthew Kennedy. Lucas LaRue de Richeza. Douglas MacLeod. Anna Carolina Mangrich. Gabriel Faria Medeiros. Scott Miller. Christopher Owen. Fraser Patterson. Iona Robertson. Maria Teresa Teixeira de Mayo Guedes Pinto. Blair Wallace. Jordan Wardrop. Kathleen Clare. Holly Clements. Scott Henderson. Suzanne James. Stephen Marley. Christopher McGinley. Andrew McGowan. Rachel McIntyre. Katie Mackay. Aidan McKinley. James Noyes. Joanne Nugent. Richard Schemmelt. Sean Sproul. Fiona Curran. Marianne Ingalls. Emma Roditi. Rachel Allen. Neve Doran. Sarah Duff. Caitlin Irvin. Thomas Kidd. Eva Peck. Colette Pickard. Jennifer Townsend. Annalise Waters. Eva Smith. Rebecca Blundell. Kirsty Butt. Natalia Dominguez. Sophie Equi. Maria Ferreira Bagnami. Sean George. Ryan McGovern. Michael Roger. Kirsty Brown. Jack Duncan. Deborah Forbes. Claire Lavery. Gareth May. Elizabeth Moss. Harris Penman. Fraser Prentice. Ailey Simpson. Benjamin Thompson. Stephanie Anderson. Catherine Annandale. Karen Belch. Elizabeth Gemmell. Monica Hitris. Tara McClay. Sarah Roxburgh. Louise Copeland. And for the postgraduate certificate in medical education, Lolade Adewale. Kenneth Baker. And for the postgraduate diploma in cognitive behavioral psychotherapy, Eleanor Bull. Catherine Doherty. Hayley MacDonald. Karen Munro. Christopher Sheridan. Michael Sullivan. Hazel Williams. Sarah Wood. And for the postgraduate diploma in medical education, Fiona Crichton. Sarah Jarvis. And for the postgraduate diploma in public health, Karen Caesar. And for the degree of Master in Medical Education, Hafiza Arzuman. Jennifer Kennedy. Jean-Michel Deluc. Charlotte Turner. And for the degree of Master of Orthopedic Surgery, Sankar Mohan. And for the degree of Master of Public Health, Anuma Abalega. Elizabeth Balfour. Mary Bruce. David Scott. Zulkarul Sidek Ahmed. And for the degree of Master of Science, Sadia Musa Gwabedi. Francis Abbott. Fiona Beaton. Fabia Cientani. Emma Cook. Mari Crombie. Lindsay Dunnett. David Elder. Jennifer Gillespie. Nadia Hanif. Elspeth Hogg. Jennifer Lai. Jane McLaughlin. Stuart Ray. Alistair Robb. And for the degree of Master of Science by Research, Cheryl Wood. Jinan Zhang. And for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Jeffrey Denwood. Jane Digby. Susan Jalisi. Joyce Joy. Karen Kroboth. Mary Little. Kirstine Loudon. Stephanie Lyon. Elsie Makachia. Lauren Tebay.
Thank you, Professor Myers. Principal, may I invite you?
Chancellor, I have the honour to invite you to confer their degrees in absence upon the candidates who have been unable to attend this ceremony.
By the authority of the Senate, I confer these degrees.
Now, I referred in my speech not only to the welcome that the university provides to its students and the experience that flows from that, but also our relationship with the city of Dundee. And the great and warm welcome that the city provides for students is a really important part, I believe, of the student experience that we provide here. And to symbolize that very strong and positive relationship between the city and the university, the Lord Provost, and in this case the Deputy Lord Provost, attend our graduation ceremonies. And I want you really to join with me in thanking the city and thanking the Provost, the Lord Provost and the Deputy Lord Provost for their attendance. Thank you. And now, as you arrived in this hall as graduates, paraded across the stage here and became graduates, you were graduands before, you now have an opportunity to join in celebration of that achievement. And normally I spend a lot of time trying to work the audience up to make plenty of noise, but judging by the enthusiasm with which you've already participated, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But the aim here is not polite applause, but to cheer one another as loudly as you can, stamp on the floor, do anything you can legally to make a large amount of noise. You have a special responsibility. This is the last of 6 ceremonies, so you've got to send us off with a fantastic sort of ceiling-raising roar. So, can I offer you my personal congratulations?
I hope there are no babies in the audience. Thank you for that. Now, it's my pleasure to ask Professor Karl Lydecker.
Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the Chancellor's Award for Outstanding Contribution to Teaching, Professor Mari Scott.
Professor Scott, as Chancellor, it is my pleasure and honor to award you the Chancellor's Award for Outstanding Contribution to Teaching Achievement. I know that you transform the teaching by e-health of MSc students in Kuwait, particularly for care of the diabetic patients. And also, more locally, how you manage to energize 240 general practices to take part in teaching of our students in general practice, and also 100 local general practices to be involved in accreditation and teaching of our medical students. I know your ambition is to have 50% of our students take up general practice and practice medicine. My point of view, I think you and I worked many years ago together.
We did.
When we reorganized medical education.
We did, Chancellor.
But I stopped and you continued.
I carried on.
With distinction.
Thank you.
So thank you for your
Thank you very
contribution
much.
to the
Thank you.
university.
Thank you.
Now, Professor Scott, if you got over that, can I invite you to present the honorary graduate?
Thank you, Chancellor. I have the honour and great pleasure to present to you for the degree of Doctor of Law, honoris causa, Professor Halal Al-Sayar. So let me begin by saying that this is the second time that Professor Halal and I have had the great pleasure of sharing a University of Dundee graduation platform. The first being not here in Dundee, but in the Dasman Diabetes Institute in Kuwait, where even though it is warm in here today, believe me, it is warmer in Kuwait. The celebration of our 5-year partnership together, we awarded the first of our 107 graduates to date with their degrees of the Masters in Diabetes Care Education and Management. We currently have another 170 students studying on this programme, and so we thank you, Professor Halal, for this shared success. Graduation, wherever it takes place, is a special time for us all. It is a time for us to celebrate your success so far. Well done all. But it's also a time to send you off on a journey that will last your whole career. We know, although you may not realise it yet, that your journey will be exciting, it will always be fulfilling, and for many of you it is likely to take some interesting twists and turns along the way. For some of you it may even be totally unpredictable, but that's the exciting part, believe me. But graduation is also a time for us to acknowledge outstanding achievements of friends and colleagues. Professor Halal, you are certainly both. A chance to introduce you, our graduates, to a few great leaders in medicine on your very first day as a doctor, and so inspire you to become great yourselves in the future. Let me spend a few minutes, therefore, telling you about Professor Halal's journey from sitting where you are, a new graduate from medical school, to standing here in front of you today. Professor Halal is an exceptional leader. He was born in Kuwait in a time when Britain and Kuwait were very close, and he qualified from medical school in Cairo in 1971, and then speedily trained and qualified as a specialist endocrine surgeon. He was awarded fellowships from both the Scottish Royal Colleges, and a few years later, in 1983, he was awarded the degree of Master in Surgery by Aberdeen University. And if you're noticing a theme here that Professor Halal loves Scotland, I should also add that 3 of his 4 children have been born in Scotland. Already on a fast-track career path, Professor Halal moved quickly beyond a purely clinical role into one of medical leadership. In 1984, he became chairman of the board of the surgical department of the Amiri Hospital in Kuwait, and in 1989, the founder and chairman of the board of the Kuwait Association for the Care of Children in Hospitals. He became Dean of the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Kuwait in 1991, having been chairman of the surgical department before that. In 2002, Professor Halal increased his international activities by becoming a member of the board of directors of the Red Crescent Society in Kuwait, which is a voluntary humanitarian society that provides assistance to the most vulnerable people affected by social conflicts, wars, or natural disasters. He is their current president. In 2009, Professor Halal became chairman of the board of the Dasman Diabetes Institute, our partners, whose mission is to prevent, control and mitigate the impact of diabetes and related conditions in Kuwait through effective programmes of research, training, education and health promotion. This shared vision, so closely matched to our own in the School of Medicine here in Dundee, has meant that our partnership has already had a huge impact on the health outcomes for the people of Kuwait. In 2011, Professor Halal became the Kuwait Minister of Health and was active in the establishment of the Kuwait Institute of Medical Specialism. At the same time, he and his wife Margaret, who we are delighted is here with us today, were working towards realising their dream for the creation and establishment of the Bayat Abdullah Children's Hospice in Kuwait, of which he is the president. I'm sure you will all agree that is quite a journey, but you might be wondering, as you start on your own journey, how does such a career pathway come about? Looking back to that young Dr. Halal graduating in Cairo in 1971, would we have seen evidence of the outstanding international leader he was to become? Medical leadership requires a complex set of skills. The bringing together of clinical excellence and critical scholarship that allows the identification of new ways of working to enable us to tackle the unpredictable challenges for healthcare in the future. But it also needs the personal qualities of kindness, compassion, empathy, courage, and commitment. It is the combination of all these skills and qualities that some might call the essence of medical leadership. Professor Halal has demonstrated that essence in all of his many roles. As a surgeon, caring for individual patients, as chairman of medical committees influencing the way care is delivered in his own hospital, in his national committees collectively pooling expertise from his all-around Kuwait to ensure excellent care for all children in hospitals, in the creation of systematic training programs for medical specialism to ensure Kuwait specialists and family physicians are trained to deliver the highest standard of patient care, and then, as Minister of Health, to ensure that the system of healthcare delivery in Kuwait allows them to deliver to that high standard. By having the vision to see that desperate needs must be addressed in a fundamentally different way, leading to the creation of Bayat Abdullah Hospice, Margaret, too, a remarkable achievement. And to recognise that the enormous challenge of tackling diabetes in Kuwait needs a bold and forward-thinking solution, the Dasman Diabetes Institute, along with the University of Dundee. To know that for the world to be a better place, organisations like Kuwait Red Crescent Society must follow the guiding principles, that those of us who can help those who, for whatever reason, have need. To reach out to disaster areas around the world, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, New Orleans. The list is huge and my time is short. And so perhaps I should adopt the adage that a picture tells 1,000 words and show you this short video that allows you to see not just the evidence of the essence of medical leadership in some of Professor Halal's outstanding achievements, but also to see the essence of the man himself. Chancellor, I now ask you to confer on Professor Halal Al-Sayar the degree of Doctors of Law.
By the authority of the Senate, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws. Congratulations and welcome to the university. Can I ask you to say a few words?
Thank you, Mary, for those kind introduction. Chancellor Lord Patel, Professor Downs, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to be here today to receive this honorary doctorate from the University of Dundee, and I would like to thank the university for conferring on me this greatest honor. I would also like to congratulate the newly graduate doctors gathering here today. Through your hard work and perseverance, you have achieved something of great magnitude that carries with it tremendous responsibilities, but also commands respect and trust from your patients. They will expect you to heal them, not only in body, but also to make them feel better in mind and spirit, and to stay true to the oath you have all taken today, to first do no harm to them. Surgeons are the poker players of the medical world. They have to make quick decisions, sometimes take a risk, and in my early days, progress was measured in how many and how quickly procedures were done. Medicine has come a long way since then. There has been incredible, unthinkable advances in every field, and not only in the technical field, but also in the personal level. We now know that a patient's psychological state can contribute to how quickly they recover, how many complications they may have, and over the years, I have observed many times that it almost also contributes to the patient's chances of survival. I was very lucky as a new resident on the surgical rotation in Kuwait. My consultant, the late Mr. Jacob Oman from Kerala, taught me that there's nothing called minor operation. Every surgery is a major procedure. He would see each patient scheduled for surgery on the night before, explaining yet again the details of procedures he was going to perform, and giving the patient every opportunity to ask questions. He would arrive at the hospital before everyone else the next morning, and before leaving the hospital that night, he would visit each patient he had operated on to make sure there were no complications. I will always remember him sitting patiently in the ICU beside the bed of the patient following a complicated, high-risk operation, waiting to see the first drop of urine passing into the bag before he would go home. When I graduated in 1972, most surgical procedures involving long incisions, resulting in a lot of pain and long post-operative recovery. Today, surgery is mostly minimal invasive, reducing not only the length of the incision, but also the time for surgery, post-operative pain, and complications. Some operations don't even require a surgeon, as robotic surgery becomes more and more reliable and accurate. I did my surgical training in Aberdeen, in the Aberdeen Royal Infirmary, ARI, and again, I was fortunate with my mentors. The late Professor George Smith was chairman of the surgical department. For some unknown reason, Professor Smith took me under his wing and insisted I meet with him in his office at lunchtime to go through pathology jars in preparation for my FRCS exams. He was a hard taskmaster, but I passed the exams and went to do my CHM under the guidance of the legendary Norman Matheson. Now, Norman Matheson was not only an outstanding surgeon and meticulous in his techniques, but also a judge in bagpiping competitions and a skillful fisherman. He taught me how to fish for salmon on the rivers around Scotland, how to perfect the spay cast, and how to choose the correct ties and flies in different rivers and different conditions. Apart from his surgery, he was famous for his after-dinner speeches, as he was not only very learned, but also had a wicked wit. The point I'm making is that however much technical knowledge and experience you acquire, the best doctors, the most effective healers are also human. A professor of surgery, a giant in the field of surgery, a master of the countryside and Highland tradition and culture, taking time to instruct a foreigner, a junior doctor, is a good example of understanding the human psyche and the human needs to be recognized as an individual with a unique identity, hopes, and fears. In fact, it may be that in the future of robotic surgery, our own identities as surgeons, the thing that exalts us above robots is the skill that robots do not have: empathy, compassion, intuition, and a sense of humor. On that note, I will end with this quote from one of Norman's after-dinner speeches. For the MedChi Society, as it's always good to inject a bit of humor into your medicine. This is an American golfer who wanted to see St. Andrews Golf Course, the famous St. Andrews Golf Course. And he went to St. Andrews and he saw this golf course and he saw the house next to it and he thought that was the house. When he went in, he found out it was an anatomy lesson. And he heard the following conversation from the professor of anatomy. Miss McPherson, what is the part of the body that increases 5 times with a wee bit of excitement? Miss McPherson blushes, puts her head down, doesn't answer. So he said, Miss McPherson, what is the part of the body that increases 5 times with a wee bit of excitement? Didn't answer. Mr. McDonald, what is the part of the body that increases 5 times with a wee bit of excitement? The pupil, sir. Well done, Mr. McDonald. Miss McPherson, you have 2 problems. 1 is you've got a dirty mind, and 2, you have great expectations. May I conclude with my best wishes that your future endeavors in medicine will meet your expectations. I have to say that the conferring of this honor on me today has far exceeded any of my expectations. Thank you very much.
Just wait a minute. Wait a minute, Jerry. Wait a minute. First of all, Professor Scott mentioned that your wife, Margaret, is here. So we most cordially thank you for being here today with Hilal. Now, you and I had a mutual friend, Badr Sultan. That's right. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But if he was, I would have got some stories from him about you. But today I had to rely on Margaret. So what stories do you think she might have told me?
No idea.
You have no idea. Have you ever forgotten to recognize her?
Never.
Never. Not even on your surprise 60th birthday party.
Oh, no.
What was the story?
I can't remember.
I think you forgot to recognize because it was a surprise birthday party for you and you didn't think she was there.
She came all the way from London to Kuwait. I didn't know she was coming.
Well, you're human after all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hilal,
Thank
for
you
being
very
here
much.
today. I got a small surprise for Dr. Audrey Morrison, Where are you, Audrey?
Big surprise.
This is your last graduation.
Yes.
We will miss you.
Oh, thank you.
Most of all, I know the students that you taught in psychiatry, who are most appreciative of your teaching, I know that, will miss you even more. But thank you for what you did. I think the students will. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, she didn't know I was going to do that. But thank you. Graham, we soon will listen to you as a choir master in a fantastic choir. But after we finish, you're not running away.
Ascites, edema, appendix, edema, embolus, embryo, eczema, chain strokes, empathy, apathy, atopy, allergy, autism, autopsy, arthroscopes, infarction, infection, induction, injection, inspection, palpations, phlebotomy, marks, bicuspid, bipolar, bigeminy, bisymptomatogenic, testicular lumps. You must say things like dysdiadogokinesia. You can't say things like the patient's unable to clap their hands quickly together while turning one over and over and over and over and over. Otherwise they'd know what you meant, so you use Latin words instead. So the patients will never discover the meaning behind all the words that you use. Neurosis, necrosis, osmosis, psychosis, intestinal, linguinal, cystic fibrosis, lordosis, kyphosis, PE, halitosis, subleptosis, aortic stenosis, dyspeptic, dyslexic, dementia, depression, paralysis, parasite, pleuropelvic, angina, andrology, antidote, antigen, ventricle, vertigo, vomit, Viagra. But on the other hand, if they understand the phrases that you say, just confused and bemused by using eponymous names like hunters and tailors, Dunlops, and curlers and turners and browns, and if they understand that acronyms are twice as hard, you need a BCG, ECG, ECT, EEG, BET, CBT, HRT. Hematocrit, hemorrhage, hemorrhoid, heparin, hand, foot, and mouth disease, gross hematemesis, maxilla, axilla, macula, popula, spatula, scapula, spermatogenesis. These are the words that are used. These are the words that are used. Surgeons, of course, are excused. We can't have them getting confused.
Come on, forward. Build it yourself. Graham Stevenson is our incredibly talented choir master. He writes all these different songs with the music, and they're all different at each graduation ceremony. And our choir, which is our university choir, is the most talented choir in any university, anywhere. And you are fantastic singers. Thank you for entertaining us. Thank you. I'll keep talking. You go. So thank you all for last 3 days, 6 graduation ceremonies, and your incredible singing. Thank you. You enlightened the whole thing. Well, sadly, I'm afraid we come to the end of not only this ceremony, but this week of graduation ceremonies. So it is now Goodbye from me, and goodbye from you. I think the word is hymn, isn't it? Please be upstanding while I call for the mace. I declare this academic ceremony closed.